I would like to briefly recap the recent most noticeable events in the war efforts. They were not in the war efforts itself, but rather political developments around the war efforts. One of them was a much discussed televised speech yesterday by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in which he came the closest he has come of yet to addressing his responsibility for the events of the October 7th massacre.
מה שעומד לנגד עינינו זה רק דבר אחד. הצלת המדינה, השגת הניצחון. אנחנו ממטירים על החמאס אש.
Now, it was noted that till now, most senior officials in Israel have taken responsibility for their role in the calamities of October 7th. That would include former defense minister and chief of staff Benny Gantz, the current head of military intelligence Aaron Khalifa, former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, and many others. And Benjamin Netanyahu is the only one left who did not fully accept responsibility for his role. And this speech was the closest he has gotten to that. And after the war, there is no doubt that a committee of inquiry will be established, and it is widely presumed that its Prime Minister Netanyahu will be forced to step down and leave the public arena. In another event of a diplomatic statement in the following days, Prime Minister Biden, after his laudatory speech of Israeli activities on October 18th, in which he claimed Hamas was a pure and unadulterated evil, and he wholeheartedly supported Israeli war efforts. Recently, he has been saying slightly different statements. So yesterday, he said the following. He said that quote, Israelis and Palestinians equally deserve to live side by side in safety, dignity, and peace. When this crisis is over, there has to be a vision of what comes next. And in our view, it has to be a two-state solution. It is important to focus on what comes after the crisis, a permanent peace between Israelis and Palestinians, etc. He also went on to condemn minor attacks that were committed by settlers in certain radical settlements known for such attacks. These were firebomb attacks. Nobody was killed, but it was damage to property was committed, and he stressed the severity of settler violence. Now, many in Israel are viewing these comments disparagingly. Many are saying that the Hamas attitude towards Jews, the genocidal attitude towards Jews, is prevalent in Palestinian Authority circles as well, and therefore there can never be a two-state solution. The two-state solution is dead and buried, as commentators, some political commentators and researchers have said. It has been pointed out that just as last Friday, the Palestinian Authority, in its directive as to the sermons, the khutbah delivered in Palestinian mosques, quoted the hadith, which many Muslim scholars say is a false hadith, stating that at the end of days, the trees and the end of days will not come, the resurrection of the dead will not come, until the trees and the stones tell the Muslims, here is a Jew hiding behind me, come and kill him. So this was an explicit directive encouraging the murder of Jews by the Palestinian Authority. So many have pointed out that they stand on the same page as Hamas as to these genocidal attitude towards Jews, and that the two-state solution can never is finished. Therefore, they look disparagingly upon any efforts to try to bring the Palestinian Authority to rule Gaza Strip when the war is over. Settler violence, they also point out, while it is a true thing, it is very minor with very few casualties, and it should not be compared to the horrific violence of Hamas. So this was the second political development. A third development is a campaign, yet small in size, by leading right-of-center intellectuals in Israel, Dr. Ran Baratz and Dr. Asaf Malach, a campaign under the term Hitpakachnu, we have been awakened, disillusioned, which is calling on people, left-of-center individuals who have been disillusioned with a two-state solution and a peaceful settlement with Gaza, to support the bombing of public institutions in Gaza, under which Hamas has its central command centers. They claim that it is morally reprehensible to allow these centers to stand, even though we are talking about schools and hospitals and UN installations under which Hamas has dug tunnels with command centers and missile stockpiles. They call the Israeli government to bomb these institutions, and they say that there is no reason that Israeli lives should be sacrificed in ground war, eliminating these institutions when it can and should be done by aerial attacks in any way possible. And they claim that they quote the Geneva Convention, stating that militants cannot hide behind civilian population. This does not make the militants immune, and they are still a legitimate military target. Those were the political developments of the recent day. This is Yeshaya Rosenman, Republic Digital, Jerusalem, Israel.